Because what you were also telling earlier,
Yeah.
right? There've been waves of the content
Yes.
format, right? And you've been a part of everything from the newsrooms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Traditional
Yeah.
newsrooms. You went into startups which are more of subscription based,
Yes.
and then there was something in between, like scroll media is something which you mentioned,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And finally, you've come down to the Signal, which is a completely new and a different format. Like
Correct.
you said, it's the third wave. Could you just walk
I
us
mean,
through
I
this?
mean, I don't want to call it the third wave. I know it sounds fancy.
Right, right, right.
It's
But
the
it is something different, definitely, because
yeah.
this is the
So
first time we're seeing something like this in India, right?
yeah. So I mean, obviously, this is sometime in 2014. There was this whole wave of sorts, if you want to call it,
Right.
globally. Particularly in the US, you had this whole explanatory journalism model that was coming into
Right.
play with Vox.
Vox was there, Buzzfeed,
Yeah,
Buzzfeed,
BuzzFeed was obviously making waves
the
in terms of the kind of stuff they were doing, listicles.
Vice Media also.
Vice Media was
Right,
making a play
right,
as well. So
right.
you're right. So that probably was the arc. That's the start of the arc, if you want to call it,
Right.
where people started consuming a lot of content, which is quote unquote topical, in the sense it was SEO driven.
Yes, it was the
So it
time
was
where
a
you.
search, yeah, where monetization was largely platform based, where
Right,
Facebook would pump in money so that you can churn more of those.
right, right.
It was a volume.
Volume-based
It was
game
yeah,
and
it was a volume based game. Value very
very less.
minimal,
Right,
except for for players like Vox who held on,
right,
and sort of have grown since then.
right.
Uh, in India, obviously, you have that phase where you had the likes of Scroll, the
Right,
Quint.
right.
Catch News was one of the
Okay,
players
never
that
heard
was
of them.
there. Yeah,
Right.
Catch News was, I think,
I think
Rajasthan Patrika, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there's something called Array also.
Array came later,
Yes,
which was, I think, backed by Ronnie
Ronnie.
Screwvala.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so so you had that second wave. I mean, not second wave; it was the first wave of sorts.
Right.
And then I mean, I think the Wire was founded around that time, if I'm not mistaken.
News Laundry also, I
News
think.
Laundry came at
Yes.
that time. Exactly. So, and then we sort of moved to this thing where there is this slight, I would say, rebellion against volume of content that you consume.
Right, right,
Where the whole thesis is around less is more,
right.
not more is not good. So less is more is a slightly more easier way to go.
Okay.
So they start, and this happens even in the US. So you have the likes of. This also coincides a little bit in the run up to the Donald Trump sort of presidency, where you saw paywalls selling out really well. So
Right.
there is some momentum that builds with, let's say, with the information in the US, which is also a subscription based, a business tech publication, which
Right.
was started by ex WSJ sort of journalists.
Okay.
So it starts from there, and then I think Rohin, to be fair to him, and absolute hats off to him, was very early into recognizing that opportunity.
Okay.
That I think there is a discerning, there's a market which is very discerning, which doesn't want a lot. So
Right.
can we sort of do uh, high quality journalism,
Hardcore journalism.
hardcore journalism, and speak truth to the so-called startup ecosystem at that time, which was still in its early years.
Right.
Because at that time, to be fair, I think we were seeing occasionally good reportage mixed with a lot of fluff.
Right, exactly.
Uh,
That's 2015 era, right?
around
That's
2014-15. So
right.
obviously, I think there was an opportunity to sort of try and bring the ecosystem back to the center,
Okay.
to hit reset, to see what was going on,
Right.
to put the lens on it.
Exactly.
So Rohin, I think, to be fair, Rohin, Seema, Ashish, Sumant, all of them, Ashish obviously back then
Right.
was part of the founding team.
Now he's running contests,
correct.
yeah.
We'll come to that, but so it was very. I think I wouldn't call them. I mean, I would call them at the right place at the right time.
Right.
Uh, and I think they saw the opportunity very early. And I think it also reinforced one thing, that I think what they also proved was that emails could be a potential distribution platform. We had heard about newsletters, but all of those were like,
There wasn't
CMS
that
say
phase.
CMS, yeah. So
Right.
it used to come via CMS, auto send.
Right.
It was basically like what a content marketer would do, just like put some graphics
Send it in
and
bulk mail via MailChimp
bulk
and all
mail.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
so it was not engaging. It
Right.
was not.
But I think, more than the delivery mechanism, it was more about the content, like you spoke about. Like, there was this section of population which really wanted
Yeah.
proper news, proper journalism, and not the fluff that was being,
Yeah,
churned out in
pumped up,
volumes.
yeah. So,
Right.
so no,
But-
which is fair.
but-
I'll just end that part by saying that, look, I mean, that second phase or
Right.
second wave, if you want to call it, I think it sort of saw a pandemic slump.
Okay.
I mean, obviously subscription. My understanding, I mean, I don't know their numbers. I can't speak for them,
Right,
but
right.
obviously there is a certain plateau that's happening. I don't have to reiterate the fact that Netflix is losing numbers.
Exactly.
All of these other